Hello and happy Mother's Day. I welcome you all to episode 3. I am going to dedicate this episode to all the mothers in the world. Good moms raise wonderful children. If your mum or wife loves horror, show her these scary stories. I hope you all have a wonderful time with your mothers. Now, sit back, relax, and listen to the scary stories we have for you today. The Whispering Shadows. Anna always thought her mother was perfect, kind, loving, and devoted. But that illusion shattered the night she found the hidden box in the attic, its lid slightly ajar. Inside, there were worn-out photographs of children, each with a small red mark on their forehead, and a tattered journal filled with frantic handwriting. As Anna read, her blood ran cold. The entries revealed her mother's obsession with protecting her family, but in a twisted way. She believed that the only way to keep her loved ones safe was to eliminate anyone she deemed a threat. Neighbors, friends, even her own children, if they strayed too far from her control. That night, Anna heard faint whispers echoing through the house. Soft, sinister voices calling her name. Shadows seemed to crawl along the walls, whispering secrets she didn't want to hear. She locked herself in her room, trembling, as her mother's footsteps approached outside. Suddenly the door burst open. Her mother stood there, eyes cold and unrecognizable, holding a gleaming knife. "You can't leave," she hissed. "You're mine. I'll never let anyone take you away." Anna ran, her heart pounding, as her mother chased her through the dark corridors. The house felt alive, pulsing with shadows and screams. In a desperate act, Anna found a hidden door leading to the basement. She barricaded herself inside, hearing her mother's muffled screams and the scraping of the knife against the door. Days later, the police found the house eerily silent. Inside, they discovered the truth. Anna's mother had been a killer, hiding her dark deeds behind a facade of motherly love. The house was filled with whispers of the past, and the shadows still lingered, waiting for their next victim. Nightshades whisper. The moon hung low, casting a sickly silver glow over the abandoned streets of Raven Hollow. No one dared to walk there after sunset, except for her, Violet Nightshade. The girl with midnight black hair that spilled over her shoulders like ink, piercing violet eyes that seemed to glow in the dark, and a smirk that hid centuries of secrets. She was a vampire, but not the glittery kind. She thrived in shadows, feeding on fear and darkness. Tonight, she prowled the alleyways, her leather jacket whispering against her as she moved with predatory grace. Rumors said her blood was cursed, her soul forever tainted. She liked it that way. The night was her sanctuary, and she was its queen. But something was different tonight. A new whisper drifted through the darkness, an echo of a voice she hadn't heard in decades, a voice that called her name, Violet. Her eyes narrowed. Someone knew her, someone who dared to reach into her past. Her claws tapped impatiently on the brick wall. Suddenly, a figure stepped out from the shadows. A boy, no older than 17, with eyes that shimmered like stars and a crooked smile that sent a thrill down her spine. "You've been hiding in the dark too long, Violet," he said softly. "I thought you wanted to stay hidden forever." A flicker of anger and curiosity ignited in her gaze. "Who are you?" she hissed, voice husky with centuries of frustration. "I'm just someone who remembers what you used to be," he replied, taking a step closer. "Before the darkness swallowed you whole." Violet's fangs peeked out as her smile turned cold. "You don't know anything about me." He chuckled, a sound that echoed through the alley. "Maybe, but I know you're not the same girl I once knew. You've become something more dangerous." Her eyes flickered with a mixture of rage and longing. "Stay out of my darkness," she warned, voice trembling with an edge of desperation. But as he reached out a hand, she hesitated. The shadows seemed to pulse around her, whispering secrets only she could hear, secrets of blood and betrayal, of a curse that bound her to eternal night. In that moment, Violet realized she wasn't alone anymore. The darkness had a name, and it was calling her back, and she was ready to answer. Deep within the shadowed valleys of the mountains, there was an old cabin shrouded in mystery. Locals whispered about Grandma Elsie, a sweet-looking woman with silver hair and kind eyes, who lived alone at the edge of the woods. She was known for her baked pies and gentle lullabies to wandering children. But beneath her warm smile hid a darkness that chilled even the bravest souls. Legend had it that decades ago, Elsie's husband disappeared in the mountains, and she became more reclusive. Some say she lost her mind after her husband's disappearance, while others believe she was guarding a terrible secret. No one dared venture too close to her cabin after sunset. One foggy autumn evening, a group of curious teenagers decided to explore the legend. As they approached her cabin, the air grew cold and the woods seemed to hush. They knocked, but only silence answered. Pushing open the creaking door, they found the inside dimly lit by flickering candles. The scent of stale bread and something metallic lingered. Suddenly, a creak echoed from upstairs. Heart pounding, one of them crept up the stairs. In the small room, they saw a collection of old photographs, people's faces scratched out with frantic bloody strokes. A chopping block stood in the corner, stained dark and crusted with dried blood. Then, a voice whispered from the shadows, "You're too late to turn back." Grandma Elsie emerged, her eyes glinting with something wild and feral. In her hand, she wielded an axe dripping with fresh blood. She lunged forward, her voice a wicked lullaby. "You shouldn't have come. Now you'll stay here with me forever." The teenagers ran, but the mountain trails seemed to twist and trap them, as if the woods themselves were alive and guarding Grandma Elsie's dark secret. They say her screams still echo in the mountain night, warning others to stay away from her cursed cabin, and to remember that sometimes the most innocent-looking faces hide the most terrifying secrets. In the quiet town of Maplewood, a mysterious figure appeared every night at the edge of the woods, whispering cryptic words to those who dared approach. Legend had it that he was a lost soul, trapped between worlds, seeking someone to carry his curse. One stormy evening, a curious teenager named Lily decided to follow him. As she stepped into the shadows, the figure turned, revealing hollow, glowing eyes. Before she could scream, he whispered, "Your credits are mine now," and she vanished without a trace. The next morning, her friends found her empty backpack and a single credit coin resting on the ground, a chilling reminder that some debts are paid in darkness. In the mist-shrouded hills of eastern Kentucky, stories of strange creatures have been whispered around campfires for generations. One such tale centers on the Shadow Stalker, a cryptid said to haunt the dense forest near the Appalachian foothills. According to local legend, the Shadow Stalker is a tall, gaunt figure with elongated limbs and glowing red eyes that pierce through the darkness. It moves silently, blending seamlessly into the shadows, making it nearly impossible to spot directly. People who have ventured too deep into the woods during the night report feeling an icy presence watching them, even when no one is in sight. One particularly chilling story involves a group of hikers who decided to explore a rarely traveled trail deep in the forest. As they set up camp, they noticed strange, whispering sounds just beyond their firelight, soft voices that seemed to echo from all directions. Suddenly, their flashlights flickered and died. In the darkness, they felt unseen eyes watching them, and a cold, oppressive atmosphere settled over them. One by one, the hikers claimed to see a shadowy figure lurking at the edge of their vision, always just out of clear sight, yet unmistakably present. Panic set in as they hurried to pack up and leave, but the feeling of being stalked persisted even after they fled the woods. To this day, locals warn travelers to be cautious after sunset, especially in the deeper parts of the forest, for fear of encountering the shadow stalker, an elusive cryptid that embodies the very darkness and mystery of eastern Kentucky's ancient wilderness. Whether it's a spirit, a creature from some forgotten time, or simply a legend born from the shadows of the mountains, the tale continues to send shivers down the spines of those brave enough to listen. The legend of the Lizard Man. Deep in the swamps of South Carolina, near the small town of Bishopville, a strange creature has long been whispered about, the Lizard Man. For decades, locals have reported sightings of a tall, scaly figure lurking in the shadows, especially near the dark waters of the swamp after sunset. One stormy night, a group of teenagers decided to venture into the swamp, daring each other to find proof of the creature. As they pushed deeper into the murky darkness, they heard strange hissing sounds and saw glowing eyes flickering between the trees. Suddenly, from the darkness, a massive, scaly figure emerged, its eyes burning with feral intensity, claws glinting in the moonlight. Frozen with fear, the teens tried to run, but the creature's speed was terrifying. One by one, they were chased through the swamp by the relentless Lizard Man, whose claws left deep gashes in the trees and who let out guttural, otherworldly roars. Only one managed to escape, trembling and breathless, vowing never to return. The next day, authorities found strange footprints, large, three-toed tracks leading into the swamp, and a faint, reptilian scale caught on a branch. No bodies were ever recovered, but the legend persists. Some say the Lizard Man is a cursed creature, a guardian of the swamp, or perhaps something even darker, an ancient beast awakened by human intrusion. To this day, those who venture too close to the swamp at night swear they see glowing eyes watching from the darkness, and the eerie feeling that they are not alone. If you ever find yourself near Bishopville after dark, beware the shadows, because the Lizard Man might be waiting. Once upon a time, in a remote village nestled deep within a dark, twisted forest, there was a legend about a sinister witch named Morgana. The villagers whispered that she was no ordinary witch. Her eyes glowed like molten gold, and her voice was said to be a whisper that could chill your bones. Many years ago, Morgana had been a kind healer, but a tragic event turned her heart cold. She was betrayed by those she trusted, and in her grief and rage, she turned to dark magic. Now she was said to dwell in an abandoned hut at the edge of the woods, surrounded by twisted trees and thick fog that never lifted. One stormy night, a young girl named Lily wandered into the woods, curious about the stories. She was warned to stay away, but her curiosity got the better of her. As she ventured deeper, the fog thickened, and strange whispers echoed around her. Suddenly, she saw a flickering light in the distance. Her heart pounding, she approached the hut. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of damp earth and something else, something rotten. Shadows danced on the walls, and a chilling voice called her name. Lily turned to see Morgana, her eyes blazing with an unnatural glow. The witch's face was twisted in a wicked grin, revealing sharp, yellowed teeth. "Why have you come, little one?" Morgana hissed. Her voice sounded like the rustling of dry leaves. Lily tried to run, but the witch's shadow stretched out like claws, grabbing her by the arm. The witch's fingers were cold as ice, and her voice grew more menacing. "Stay with me forever," Morgana whispered. "This forest will be your home now." Lily struggled, but the witch's magic was powerful. With a flick of her wand, the girl was trapped in a shimmering cage of dark energy. From that night on, villagers reported hearing Lily's screams carried by the wind, and some claimed to see her ghostly figure wandering near the woods. The brave souls who dared to enter the forest at night often disappeared without a trace, believed to have fallen under Morgana's spell. To this day, no one dares to venture too close to the witch's hut. They say Morgana still lurks in the shadows, waiting for the next curious soul to cross her path, her evil eyes ever watchful, ready to ensnare another victim in her terrifying web of darkness. On a cold, moonless night deep within the northern Idaho mountains, a group of hikers set out on a routine trek, unaware of the dark legend that cloaked the region. As they ventured further into the dense, whispering pines, an unnatural silence settled over the forest, broken only by the crunch of their footsteps. Suddenly, the air grew icy cold, and a strange, flickering glow appeared between the trees. Curious and unnerved, they approached cautiously. What they saw was unsettling. A faint, ghostly figure hovering just beyond the tree line, its translucent form flickering like a dying flame. It was said to be the spirit of a trapper who vanished in these mountains over a century ago, cursed to wander forever, searching for something lost. As they stared, the figure turned slowly, revealing hollow eyes that seemed to pierce their souls. Shadows crept from the darkness, coalescing into twisted shapes that moved with unnatural jerks. Panic set in, and they tried to flee, but the forest seemed to close in around them, roots and branches grabbing at their ankles. One by one, the hikers disappeared into the darkness, their screams echoing into the night. The next morning, search parties found only their abandoned gear and faint ghostly footprints that vanished into the thick wilderness. No sign was ever found of the missing, and locals say that on cold, dark nights, if you listen closely among the trees, you can still hear the faint cries of those lost, forever trapped in the haunted depths of the northern Idaho mountains. The Whispering Room. There was an old, abandoned house on the edge of town, rumored to be haunted. No one dared go inside after sunset, but one stormy night, a group of friends decided to explore it, eager for a thrill. They crept through the creaking front door, flashlight beams dancing across peeling wallpaper and dusty furniture. As they ventured deeper, they felt an icy chill settle over them. The air grew heavy, thick with an unexplainable silence, broken only by the occasional creak of the house settling. In the living room, they found a mirror covered in grime. When one of them wiped it clean, their reflection didn't move. Instead, a whisper echoed from the glass. "Leave this place." Suddenly, the door slammed shut behind them. Panic set in as they tried to open it, but it wouldn't budge. The whispers grew louder, now coming from every direction, overlapping in a chorus of unintelligible voices. Shadows flickered at the edge of their vision, and the temperature dropped so low that breath fogged in the air. One by one, they started to see figures in the darkness, distorted faces pressed against the walls, eyes staring with malevolent intent. They screamed, but no sound escaped. Eventually, the house fell silent again. When dawn broke, the friends were gone. The house stood silent and dark, waiting for the next curious souls to enter and listen to the whispers that never stopped. On the outskirts of a quiet town, Emma stumbled through the abandoned streets, her flashlight flickering. The once lively neighborhood was now silent, save for distant groans and shuffling footsteps. She had heard the rumors, people turning into mindless zombies after the outbreak, but never thought she'd witness it firsthand. As she hurried toward her safe house, a figure lurched out of the shadows. It was her brother, eyes vacant, arms outstretched. Emma froze, tears welling up. She knew she couldn't save him, but she whispered a final goodbye before turning away, heart heavy, as the undead brother reached out with trembling hands. On a foggy autumn night, a young woman moved into an old, creaky house at the edge of town. That evening, as she unpacked, she heard faint whispers echoing through the halls. Curious, she followed the sound to a dusty mirror in the attic. As she looked into it, her reflection flickered, and suddenly, a shadowy figure appeared behind her, eyes hollow and distant. When she turned around, no one was there. From that night on, she often saw the ghostly figure lurking just beyond her view, reminding her that some spirits never truly leave their homes. I want to thank everyone for listening to our stories. This episode was dedicated to all the mothers out there, to the lady of my world, Mariah. Thank you for being there and being my best friend and the perfect mother to our children. Thank you all for listening. If you like, please hit that like button and subscribe.